Greetings, everyone, and welcome to ACEDS Data Unmasked, streaming live on LinkedIn, Twitter, Facebook, and YouTube. My name is Mike Quartararo, and I am the president of ACEDS. Today, we will be joined by Laura Danielson, Vice President of Sales Operations, and Sarah Pons, Vice President of Business Development, both from HaystackID. Collectively, they have been for decades in the e-discovery industry, working on information governance and e-discovery, and we're excited to have them have an opportunity to talk with them about what's going on at Haystack. Haystack, of course, is a professional services firm that provides e-discovery, information governance, cybersecurity services in the legal sector. You can learn more about them at HaystackID.com. Haystack is also a valued partner of ACEDS, and we love to showcase for our members' benefit what's going on at various industry organizations. And so we invited Laura and Sarah to join us to do a little tag team on the latest happenings in the industry, what's going on at Haystack, and so forth. Alrighty, let's get into it. Laura and Sarah, thank you so much for making time to join us today.
Oh, you're very welcome. Thanks for having us.
Yeah, thank you.
Great to see you both. And I always like to start with a little bit about who we're talking to. So tell us, Sarah, a little bit about yourself, how you found your way into e-discovery.
Yeah, so I'm out of Charlotte, North Carolina, and I started in the industry in about 2005. I had always been in sales before, and I applied with a company called Icon Legal Document Services that many of us probably remember. And it was brand new, I had never worked in the legal industry before. It was all scanning at the time. And so I was going to get to work with lawyers and paralegals, and it sounded like fun. So that's where I started. And it was really a great time to get in the industry because e-discovery hadn't even started really yet. So I feel like I got in at a great time to learn from the ground up. And it turned out to be a good business move from there.
Awesome. And Laura, what's your journey been like?
Oh, interesting. Let me see. I started as a litigation paralegal back in the late 80s. Okay, so I'm really dating myself, but I did that and then went into trial, a lot of trial work, paralegal, and then I was kind of bored. I was kind of bored with it. I'd experimented with technology at the law firm I was at, access databases, learning how to scan documents, being able to create OCR and things like that and put together, a small database. And so I decided, I moved to Minnesota from Atlanta, and I was like, I'm really bored at the law firm I was at. I want to learn more about technology. So I don't know, I answered a blind kind of an ad in the newspaper. I thought I can be a project manager because I've got all these great paralegal skills. And so I applied to Quorum, which is probably one of the largest and oldest companies that was out there back in the day. It was an offshoot from Control Data. And they hired me as a project manager. And then I, was there basically, again, going back to Sarah, scanning, coding, all of these proprietary databases, DocuLogix, KnowledgeLink, JFS Litigator's Notebook, all these different things that, were out there because there was really nothing like Relativity today. And so worked my way up into management. And then, I've gone back into the law firm on the director level, gone back on the vendor level. I was at Night Owl for quite a while. And then, we ended up merging with Haystack. And so here I am.
Awesome. And it's fascinating to see. I'm reminiscing a little bit because it sounds like our backgrounds are a little bit similar. Although I spent most of my career in the legal, in the law firm sector. But well, tell me about your role at Haystack, Sarah, and what you find. What's the favorite part? What's your favorite part of your job?
Okay. I'm our VP of Business Development, and so I'm working to expand accounts, current accounts, as well as selling new business for Haystack. And My favorite part of the job, I would say, is meeting with clients, really learning about their business. What are the business problems that they're having, and just the problem solving part of it, trying to make their jobs easier with the solutions that we have. I would say that's number one. I also love the project management aspect of my job. I love the real big, complicated cases where you get to pull in resources, from forensics and review and international aspects and things like that. So I just think that I've really enjoyed just the project management piece as well for my job.
Awesome. Laura, tell me, what's your favorite part of your job?
Well, I primarily, my background was in operations client services, and about a year ago, I went over to the sales operations group because they wanted somebody to come in with operational background. So I think being able to come in, work with the sales group, work with some of the other departments, looking at bringing some efficiencies in, working with the sales operations on some special projects and initiatives that we're doing. But I think being able to help people, and they're not quite sure what to do, or they need some help looking at something a little bit different, or being able to get them some real-time information on the fly. I think that's important, but I think the ability to help people and share my knowledge that I've incurred over my lifetime of work.
And I'm seeing a theme here, and it certainly holds true for me too. One of the things I always loved most about working in this space was the collaborative piece of it, right?
Yeah.
You're always working with different teams. When I'm talking to somebody who's maybe young or getting into the business or starting taking one of our programs and sort of a little uncertain of themselves, I always kind of tell them, look, you'll never be bored. This is not a boring industry. It's always something different. It's always something interesting. You're collaborating with different people all the time on different matters. So, so thanks both for your contributions. What would you say, Sarah, is the most transformative thing that you've seen, the most significantly transformative thing you've seen throughout your career?
There have been many throughout. I would say probably the first one was just the transition from, paper to e-discovery. That was a huge transition. Back in the day, everybody was using summation or concordance and doing linear review. So when relativity came out, that was a huge difference. And I would say relativity analytics was a huge change in the industry. Just coming up with technology-assisted review, workflows, CAL workflows, that instead of doing the linear review, you had all these new features and new benefits and ways to review documents. And then, AI is going to be really interesting. I feel like we're just dipping our toes in right now to AI. So it'll be cool to see where this goes in the next 5 years.
Another transformation. Laura, what's been your most significant transformative event, if you will?
I think, similar to Sarah, but looking at where the industry was, where it is today, I think the emergence of EDRM in 2006, how that has grown, and, the different components of the EDRM. Like for instance, information governance didn't become as popular until just, it's really started to grow into advisory. Corporations really want to look at how we can better manage our data, looking at, I think, great opportunities out there. But in addition, I think cyber, privacy, those different areas, how they come into play and interface with the e-discovery world, it's just very interesting.
Yeah, I'm always fascinated by the overlap, right? We have these sort of, at this point, old e-discovery processes, but we've got these new sort of regulatory spaces, privacy, cyber, and so forth, where we can use those e-discovery processes in those new areas, and it's something I've always been sort of more interested in, and I try to push whenever I can, and that segues really nicely into the next topic I want to touch on, which is education. We're an educational organization, always trying to underscore the crucial role of education and development of emerging leaders. And I'm sure both of you, that there's no way you spend as much time as each of us have in this space without becoming an educator on some level. And so I'm a little curious. Can you share a story about a mentor or someone that inspired you in e-discovery that significantly influenced the direction of your career? Sarah?
Sure. Yeah. So back when I started, 2005, 2006, I had met Michelle Kovic, who many of you may know. She's now with Anna. And back in the day, she used to own her own company that was called Litigation Management Technology. And she had been a paralegal in the industry. She was a certified summation trainer. And so I was brand new to the industry, didn't really know a lot of people. So the two of us met up at some industry event. We were both exhibitors. And I thought, hey, could we partner together? Maybe I could bring you into law firms. I was working in Raleigh at the time. And said, could I bring you into law firms, have you do summation training? I'll set up lunch and learns. I can talk about my company too. And it really just worked out great. We did a lot of these where we would partner together. And so I got to learn about summation. We got to meet a lot of people together in the market. It helped her business as well. And she's just always been a great friend throughout our careers, which is going on 18 to 19 years now for me.
Awesome. So let's talk a little bit about those kind of lunch and learns and CLEs and things that happen obviously across the industry. Attorneys are always looking to sort of navigate and find new educational or upskilling opportunities, and with the evolving nature of our industry with privacy and cyber. Hold on, someone's disturbing me. How do you recommend that professionals in our space source their CLE programs in an effort to upskill what they do?
I would say at the beginning of a year, look at the topics that you want to learn more about. As you were saying, I feel like in e-discovery, we're not segmented anymore. Like, we need to know about privacy and cyber and information governance and AI and all these different topics. So I would say put a list together of your topics that you want to learn about for the year. There's lots of resources out there, either through your state bar association. I know the National Business Institute does a lot of CLEs. If you're a law firm or a corporate client and you have, e-discovery vendors that you work with regularly, a lot of times you can reach out to your vendors and ask for CLE, and they'll set up something for your company, whether remotely or in person. So just a lot of ways to get CLE. And even if you're not going for the CLE credit, there's lots of free education out there, lots of webinars going on where you can learn about all of these topics.
Yeah, and obviously I'd be remiss of me not to remind people that ACEDS is one of those sources, so please. And so in addition to educating the industry at large, obviously you both have dedicated time and your skill sets to educating your colleagues via HaystackID University. First, Laura, can you tell me what is HaystackID University? Tell our listeners. And what is the mission of the program?
Okay, well, we created Haystack University a couple of years ago, and it was it's an internal application where we came together across various departments to create a one-stop shop for people to go to for training. There's on-demand training, there can be in-person training, different resources, communication protocols, SOPs and workflows out there, so people can go to one spot to find information. In addition, we have a program that when we bring in new employees, we put them through a special onboarding curriculum, and that is also really the Haystack University internal has really helped the new hires, as I would call them, new employees that have joined our company, and be able to quickly look up information instead of having to, where do I find this or where do I find that? Again, it's like a one-stop shop, okay, internally that employees can use and gather and find information.
Do you have an example, Laura, of how the program has elevated perhaps a HaystackID team member and improved their proficiency in a particular area?
Yeah, I do. We look at candidates, that they have good project management skill set or IT skill set. Sometimes those candidates have good skill sets, but they haven't dabbled or don't have a lot of e-discovery experience, or for instance, relativity experience. So through our on-demand and also our in-person training sessions that we have set up for them, it has helped them grow their skill set. It also helps them have the ability with study groups to study and get additional relativity certifications. And then it puts them on a career path to go into that next level, let's say a project management. They may come in as an associate project manager, but then they meet all those different requirements to get to that next level to become a project manager. And from there, to be a senior project manager and kind of move up that client services operational ladder. And I've seen that happen a lot, where we would bring in people where they had great relativity experience because they'd worked, in review in a higher level, and then being able to bring in and teach them project management and client service and process. And it's been very successful. We had training programs of like 90 to 120 days to get them to their certain skill sets. And then I feel so positive and good about it that they were able to go up to that next level to achieve their career development, that path that they wanted to do. So it's very rewarding, I think, for management or senior management to see somebody be able to do that. But, the company expends time and energy into it, but it's also, important that that individual who wants to move up is expending time and energy in that. And I think if you give them that ability to do that through the university that we have internally, it's helping them grow and get to that next level.
Yeah, I think it's always of value when a company, organization, or any employer, frankly, shows that they're making an investment in their people. So kudos to Haystack for that. How do you see this program evolving? Do you have any aspirations for where it will be in 3, 5, 7 years?
Yeah, we do. Our next piece of this is we want to roll it out externally to our clients. And basically where they would have the ability to log in, do trainings, whether they're on demand or they're real-time trainings, but also have information out there that they can access and learn more, so they can also, grow in their career development, because not everybody is an advanced or sophisticated person out there. They may just be coming into the industry and they want to learn more. But you also have, some, I'm going to say older, kind of in my age bracket, where, all of a sudden they're realizing I have to learn about this technology and I have to learn about these different things. Now we're seeing some of our cases come in with different components of e-discovery, and, we're getting Slack data in, and, some of the application data out there. How do we deal with that? How do we collect it? And those different things. So we want to build our Haystack University as a go-to resource for them, so they can learn more about that and we can help them and become a better partner.
That's awesome. Sarah, thoughts on Haystack University?
Yeah, no, I mean, it's great. And I love that the plan is to roll this out to clients as well, because that's, I hear from them a lot, as far as what type of education that we have available. We do have, a relativity master trainer on staff that helps a lot with training, but it would be great to have on demand as well.
Fantastic. So we at ACEDS, we sort of sit in a unique place. We get a lot of new entrants to the field, right? So I wanted to get both of your thoughts on any advice you might have for professionals who are new to e-discovery, looking to further their careers. While we're talking about education, I figured this was a perfect question. Sarah, start with you.
Yeah, sure. I would say number one, networking. I think whether networking through attending local conferences, things like Women in E-Discovery, ILTA, other just local events that you can find. National conferences are great, like the big ones like Relativity Fest or EDI or Clock that's coming up next month. Masters conferences are also something that are around the country. I think networking is so important because, you might meet someone that might be your next employer or your next coworker that you might recruit, or maybe or a client, in the future. So networking is really important. Also, just the education, like we talked about, there's so much education out there through webinars that I really feel like you can really find whatever you're looking for on the education piece. It just takes the time putting the time into it. And then finding a mentor in your company or in the industry that you can go to for questions, to find out the way that other companies are doing things in your same industry. So.
Yeah. And I said it before, and I'll say it again. It's never boring in this industry. The other really valuable thing to understand is you never really know everything, because
Right.
It's constantly changing, right? So you've got to stay sort of attuned to what's going on in the industry developments, whether it's software or process, all those things. Like you're always learning in this business, and that's what's kind of one of the things that's really attractive. Laura, your thoughts on what advice you would give to a new e-discovery professional today?
Well, I mean, your program ACEDS, when we were at Night Owl, we actually required a lot of our entry-level project management team members to actually, we'd pay for their cert and get the cert and the education. I think your organization is excellent with that. But there are relativity. There's a lot of things that you can go online and learn, just sign up to be part of their community. A lot of free stuff there. There are different webinars out there that it's surprising how many webinars are free if people, if everybody pays attention to it and to learn. Google different topics out there. You will find all kinds of information. I mean, that's how I've learned over the years, and especially in some of the new areas that are emerging. Like cyber and privacy. I've spent a lot of time just tracking what's going on in the privacy world, but also cyber. What is cyber? Where does cyber go besides the services, that we provide? So industry blogs are also another great place to go. If you're new to project management, and Michael has a great book, e-discovery project management out there. I bought some copies. I've given them to my coworkers. I've read it, and and some of the people that I've given it to on the entry level, they're like, "This is a great book." There's print resources out there. You can get the ebook. There's all kinds of things. I ordered something not too long ago on Amazon on legal holds, because I wanted to expand some reading on legal holds. So there's all kinds of things that you can do to enhance your skill set if you want to learn more about something.
Yeah, no, great advice from both of you. What, Sarah, do you think is the most significant trend that's going to shape our field that folks should have on their radar today?
I would say that overlapping of the legal areas. I feel like, again, just knowing e-discovery, you really need to know about privacy and cyber and information governance and legal operations. Like, it's all just blending. And within a company, I mean, these are the same data sets that all these people in different areas are working with, right? So you really need to be more generalized and learn across the spectrum of, all of these different areas of legal.
Mm-hmm.
That's a great point. Yeah. Laura, your thoughts on the most significant trend shaping our field today?
Well, I think the overlapping piece of it. I am interested. I've been kind of watching AI, where that's going to go.
Wait, who? What's AI? What?
Yeah, I know. I mean, it's everywhere out there. And I was reading an article 2 days ago about how and these are just articles out there, but how AI may help smaller law firms get on more of the level of larger law firms. And I think AI still need to be tested out there, and kind of where it's going and what the direction is. And, I think I don't know, I was reading another article about governance, of it. And, I think the politics are going to get involved in a little bit, and so on. But I think, again, the overlapping of, all of these things coming together, understanding how they work together, and then looking at, do hybrid models come out of this? Where does efficiencies get built into this, and different things like that. I mean, privacy is a big thing. I follow privacy a lot, and just watching all the states that are passing new privacy laws, they have them under consideration, they're investigating them, and how is that going to play? I've always thought, why can't the federal government just pass a privacy law like GDPR did over in Europe, and that would help solve these things instead of having all these different states having all these different laws. So I think, as that goes through, we're going to see some changes on that also.
Yeah, I could not agree more, and it's definitely an exciting time to be in our industry.
Mm-hmm.
All right, we're almost out of time, but before we go, I always like to ask what you and or Haystack are doing at upcoming events. What are you excited to see, learn, do? Sarah?
I know that we've got a lot of folks from Haystack attending Clock next month, so I just see what's the latest technology, in legal operations.
Mm-hmm.
Laura?
I don't get out much to trade shows and whatnot. I'm pretty much behind the scenes, but I think all the different types of services that we're pushing out there, like, our cyber service, that's been really a lot of new clients and companies out there. Unfortunately, if you get a incident that happens, but how we can help them. I think the new review right that we rolled out last year, that is really taken hold for review. There's just a lot of different things, our advisory services as they're growing, and the different things that we can do for advisory. There's a lot of new things out on that. So just, keeping an eye on what we're doing and stopping by the booth and checking out the website, just to see the newest and greatest that we have.
Awesome. I appreciate both of you. Thank you so much for being here today. This has been great. Thanks for joining us, everyone out there. And if you are interested in our short form video interviews like this one, you can find Data Unmasked and We Are ACEDS live streams on LinkedIn, Twitter, Facebook, and on the ACEDS YouTube channel, where you can watch previous interviews. Thank you again, everyone, for joining us today. Have a great day and be kind to one another.